A journey of excellence and innovation via the construction industry, and done by a woman. Yes, by a woman. I'm excited to share my guest, Lisa, and her story and her journey. So, yeah, let's bring on my guest. She's more interesting than me alone. So, uh, in 2019, she established LPM Enterprises and has been dedicated to advocating for condominium corporation boards and commercial under construction and restoration. She is also a renowned independent commercial business consultant, shaping companies from with a focus on HR, human resources, and safety sectors. Her journey has started in the trades at 2005 and has led to leadership roles within the industry, from serving on condo boards and property management to becoming a mother. Well, that's massively creative in the construction world, and managing that as well, right, Lisa? And her experiences have shaped her into a remarkable professional that she is today. And by 2018, she had risen to the position of the COO in a medium-sized company. She's relentless in her work ethic, 75 hours per week as the operations director of a restoration company. And it was during that time she recognized the potential to channel her dedication to building her own enterprise, resulting in the establishment of LPM Enterprises Limited. There's lots more we can go on, but I'd rather just get her up here and she could just tell us about her journey. So I'm not going to wait anymore. Here she is, Lisa, and not the other name that I accidentally wrote. We won't even mention that name because it was totally wrong. But welcome to the show, and thank you for making time to fit us in.
Absolutely. Thanks, Phil, for having me onto the show. I love being a part of all these different things that go on in the industry and supporting everybody at every level. So this is great. Thank you.
You've got some interesting things on your wall there. The one that caught my eye when you were pre-show was the 7 rules of life.
Yes, 7 rules of life. Yes. Do you want me to go through them?
Yeah,
I don't know them off the top of my head.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's like let it go, be yourself, give it time, don't compare, stop thinking too much, it's on you, and smiles.
I like to smile. I like the don't overthink. Was it what? Don't overthink. Don't think too much.
Stop thinking too much.
Stop thinking. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, paralysis by analysis can happen by overthinking, right?
I'm guilty of it.
Me too. I think most of us are.
I think
we're taking action more than we are thinking about it.
Actually, it's funny because I always get accused of just pulling the trigger or jumping. And I'm like, you have to have faith in yourself. Like change isn't going to happen if you just keep planning and planning and planning. Sometimes you just got to jump and see where it takes you. So I did that. As you stated, I did all these wonderful things. At the time, it's interesting because you don't think they're as wonderful until someone comes along and says, wow, you're really accomplished. And in the back of your head, you're like, I just did what I had to do. In my brain, that's how it works. So I just did what I had to do. I had 2 kids and worked a really great job and was happy for the most part, but relationships don't always work, and it didn't work. So I jumped and moved on to a bigger venture. And what I thought I was, I will say that when everything happens for a reason in my world. I truly believe that anyway. So even though my ex and I didn't work out, there were a lot of things that I gained from being with him. And that was that he had put the faith in me to help run his business, which gave me all of the tools I needed in order to run my own business. So for that, I'm grateful. I also got 2 beautiful children out of the mix. So, I mean, no one can complain about that. And they're smart and funny, and I love them to death. And then, with the restoration, it put me into a different direction. So when I went and worked in restoration, I got to see a different perspective of the construction world and how important and how impactful it is on people when losses happen. I mean, unless you've experienced a loss, you don't realize how much it impacts people. And these large losses happen sometimes during holidays, and people are pushed out of their homes, and it's awful, so you got to always look for that team, and you encourage your team to do things to basically to move forward with their heart and their head. So get the job done. I know you're smart enough to do it, and encourage your teams, because you want to get those people back into their homes during the holiday time, because that's really hard. So that's kind of pulled on my heartstrings when I worked in restoration. So I went and made sure I got certified in it so that I could work alongside the crews and see everything.
I don't know if you saw me start to giggle. I don't know if I should share this, but I was looking after a house for a brother of mine, and there was a dripping faucet, and I said, "Oh, I was half asleep when I started on the project." I said, "Oh, I can fix that." So I started dismantling the. I probably. Oh, it's too late. I'm in it now. So I actually had to call the fire department. I won't go into a long story because the story's about you. But what I did appreciate that what you reminded me of is that along with the fire department and the restoration people, we solved the problem. My brother didn't know about it until he got home.
Mm-hmm.
I ruined his house.
Oopsie. Oopsie boopsies.
It's okay now, but it was. So if you want an experienced house sitter, I'm good now. I know what not to do.
Learned all the don'ts, hey?
I'm not really a business renovator, as the show says. I do not fix walls, buildings, etc. We rely on experts like yourself.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's funny. I was doing, I did an entrepreneurial, what would you call it? It would be like a presentation, I guess, at my children's school, because they go to an entrepreneurial school here in Airdrie. Okay. And I was, so gracious to go and talk to all these students. And it was amazing, because the principal was walking around and she was reading my bio, and she had said 8,000 plus hours. She said, "Do you know that the definition of an expert is someone who has over 10,000 hours?" So Lisa's not far from that, because it's 8,000 plus hours. And you know what? It was something actually I learned that was new at that moment in time, because I'm just telling you what I've done. And she said, so she's the right person to talk to because she has all those hours. But I found it really fascinating, because there's so many people in the construction industry that have well over 8,000 hours, 10, 15, 20,000 hours, and they are not looked at as experts. And to me, that's very diminishing for them, because they're very intelligent.
Yeah. Well, one of the other things too that I've had other tradespeople, that have their hands on the tools and started off that way, and have actually created a pretty decent life for themselves. They ended up creating a business, and in that creating a business in the trades, they were able to provide employment, services for the community, and make a difference in their community, because they were running a business. They were an entrepreneur. They were not only a technician, whether it be electrician, carpenter, auto body mechanic, it doesn't matter. All of those are important. And some of the people in the world today think that that's not a good place to go. And there's a lot of reasons why to go there. I think because the cost of getting up and running to get to your 10,000 hours is less than if you go to school at the university level. Not dishing anybody there. I just want to encourage people that if you're kinesthetic and you're thinking and you would like to work with your hands and create things, the trades are a great place to go. You can eke out a really nice lifestyle.
I agree. And I will tell you this, I would rather work alongside someone who's got those hours boots on the ground than to work along the guy that came out of the school. And people will say, "Oh, Lisa, that's not fair." And I'll say, "Well, that's my opinion. It's my personal opinion. I would rather work beside the guy that I know has been doing this for a long time than to work beside the guy that just, was inside of a classroom," because it is two different worlds. And, and the people that do go to SATE and do trades, I commend them. And then they come out and then they just need a chance, right? Everybody needs somewhere to start. So that's the other thing, is that as long as they're like, you know what, I've got this education, I've done some practicum in SATE, and I've done this and done that, can I just go? I think 100% you should open your arms and bring them in and teach them how to do it on site. But if you're asking me if I have a choice between someone who's just walking out of school and someone who's, been on the tools for a long time, I would say bring that person from the school to work along that person that's been on the tools for a long time. Because if there's one thing I've learned in trades, everybody wants to teach you as long as you are malleable. If you are not willing to learn and you are not willing to hear what they have to say because they've been doing it for a long time, you're not going to get very far. It doesn't matter what your gender is. Are you going to listen to what I'm telling you so that we can all work cohesively together and get this done? So the trades have come a long way for women. Like, they really have. There's still things that can be changed. There's still things that can be different. But I think the biggest takeaway for me working in the trades, because everyone's like, oh, you're a woman, how do you do? And I'm like, you know what? It's not about men or women. Men are more scared of us coming into their industry than we are of them. We just want to be accepted, and they don't want to have to change too much, right? So they're like, I don't want to have to worry about what you might report me for because you're uncomfortable with me. So they're scared. They're like, I don't want to change too much. And then we're just like, we just want you to hear us. And that's all. We just want to be able to sit at your table and say, here's our ideas. And you guys go, okay, that works. So that's really what it's about for me. Anyways, I'm not looking at creating some large, wave in the construction industry, more like just little ripples.
Well, along with that ripple, a client of mine is a wholesale supplier into the HVAC space. And there are more and more, there's still percentage is still lower for women, but they're advocates of women if they got the skill set in them. And the other thing is the A word, attitude. Just like you said, if people have the right attitude, and in my coaching practice, I introduce that concept. I'm not going to share it here. But we have something called the Carnegie Triangle. It's a way to talk about, demonstrate, and have a conversation around skills, attitude, and knowledge. And this particular company, whether they're in the branch, running a branch, or on the counter selling parts to the tradespeople, or if they're outside salespeople, or maybe they're women in the office helping with the senior levels, helping drive this particular company. It's great to be a part of their organization as a vendor. I'm not an employee, but every once in a while I work with them. And more women are joining the fold and then joining different trades, right? The HVAC trades, electrical trades, construction, as well as carpentry, etc.
Yeah. Well, some of the biggest challenges that I've encountered in trades have not only been from men, but more often, I think where I feel more hurt is from the women, right? So you get these women that are on this journey of like they're on the sides of the men that are not happy about you being there. And that's not the way to be, because everybody brings value. It doesn't matter where you stand in that trade. Everybody brings value. We're all a team on some level. So when I think that's probably not more women that have given me a hard time. It's more the men that give me a hard time, but it's more or less to kind of get your character and see what you're about. And if you're willing to jump into the trenches with them and do the stuff with them, which I am, even though, I get my lashes done or get my nails done, I'll throw on gloves and I'll jump in the trenches with those boys, and I'll pull whatever they need me to pull. I'll sling rock, I'll pull garbage, I'll pull floor, I don't care. And that's just that, letting them know that I'm willing to get to their level to understand what they go through. And you gain the respect as a person, not just, everyone's so caught up on gender, but really I found that you gain the respect as a person when you're willing to do those things, right? So like you said, attitude, but it's women that I've actually struggled with the most in the office that are, that will say, oh, Lisa's aggressive, or oh, Lisa's this. But I'm like, I decided I was going to pull a fast one, and I changed my name on the bottom of my email. And I had an email under a male's name when I had some males working for me. And it was an email that I would have normally sent in my tone and everything, because, well, email doesn't really have tone, and they responded very nicely to me. And they're, oh yeah, no problem, blah, blah, blah. And I came back and said, I sent that email. I sent the same email 3 days ago, and I was told I was aggressive. So what's the problem? And they were like, oh.
So you're not the problem.
Correct.
It's people's perception, right? It's their biases.
That's right. And that's really what it comes down to, because I've done so much research and just worked with a lot of really amazing people. When we talk about like this imposter syndrome, like, did I make the right choice? Am I in the right industry? And you know what? I've met so many amazing women in this industry that are strong and fierce and forged through. And, we don't want to let our trailblazers in front of us down either. So we want to be able to keep moving, create that momentum to keep moving and doing the things that we need to do, not just alongside the men, but just as people. And that's my biggest message when it comes down to it, because construction can be really finicky about talking about gender, and it's such a big thing right now. And for me, I'm like, you know what? I'm a person, and if you need me to do something, tell me what it is you need me to do, and let's get going. So
cool. Yeah. So something I've noticed about you is you have some of this. It's one of my favorite quotes. It's from a early 1900s author. It's our get-to-itiveness and our stick-to-itiveness that matters. I sense you have a little bit of that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not scared to, to bark back at anybody, but I mean, I always find you catch more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. But if you're throwing vinegar at me, you're probably going to get a different reaction. But there's so many things in the world that are going on that for me, I'm just happy to do what I do. Like you said, I'm basically an advocate for condos, and that's because they're all these people are volunteers. I don't think they understand. And you and I had a conversation about this, how you'd sat on a condo as well. So you kind of understood some of that. And that's something that I want to try and get out to the world is, hey, you're not alone. You can hire a consultant that is there for you, will go with you to pick your trades and tell you what the differences are, help you build that scope, help you go through all of these projects, and that's on your side. I'm your person to make sure everything is done correctly, and to make sure if we can avoid a cash call, we will. So I get those trades to sharpen their pencils, not ridiculously, but just to make sure they're within the grounds of the markup that they're supposed to be in. Not all trades like me for that, but I mean, I want you to make a buck. I just don't need you to be a millionaire. Are you eating steak or are you eating shrimp and lobster? Like, which one is it?
I don't mind being a millionaire, but just not on one project.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
So it's
Fair
one of
and
those things.
equitable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you sit as a board member, because I did for 7 years, and then I was a manager, and then I went and worked in the trades, and I was like, the only people that are losing, property managers are losing because they don't have the time to oversee these projects. They just don't, and they don't know enough about construction or the different projects that are coming on. And boards are, like I said, volunteers. And nobody at the end of the day is like, yeah, let's take on another job that's going to take, X amount of hours more every day, for free. Like, nobody wants to do that. Board members do what they need to do because it's part of their investment, and they want to make sure that everything is going okay. So you've got two types of people on a board. You've either got people who are genuinely concerned for the property and how everything moves, and then you've got people who have an agenda. And so it's getting the people who have an agenda on your side of, that's a great agenda, and let's make it everybody's agenda as long as it works in favor of the entire corporation. Right?
Cool.
Yeah.
So the show Pillars Foundation, there's construction language there. Pillars Foundations are based on sales, marketing, and mental fitness. Excuse me. We certainly experienced a little bit of your mental fitnessness because of your get-to-itiveness and stick-to-itiveness, and your passion and advocacy for women and others in the trades. You're gender neutral, right? You're really just looking to make sure there's everything's fair and equitable. What were some of the lessons that you could share with our audience? Not all of them be in construction, but some certainly will, in being an entrepreneur, a female entrepreneur. And what are some of your best lessons?
Ooh. Okay, so there's this common phrase, pay to play. Mm. And so what happens is, as an entrepreneur coming in, there was a lot of deals I would give people because of the situations that they find themselves in. And so I have a big heart. And so I would jump in and I would help them for minimal to no cost, or I would give them insane deals. And all of them, each and every one of them have hurt me in some way, hurt my business, have taken money out of my pocket, have, hurt me financially in some way, and or fought with me about a bill that was, minimal. And the biggest lesson and takeaway for that is know your worth. It doesn't matter whether they're friends, whether they're family, whether they've got a situation. Don't take advantage of the situation, but charge your rates all the time. This is my rate. And this is
it okay to lead with your heart still, though?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah,
you can still lead with your heart. You can still be the empathetic person. It's just you're doing it at the cost that you're worth. That's all it is, right? Yeah. I know what my worth is, but I'm not going to go in there and be like, well, this is what's happening because I'm worth this much. You're going to get the same Lisa. You're just going to get her price point, which is accurate, versus, oh, well, my heart goes out to you, so I'm just going to give you a whole bunch of deals, which is what people kind of look for. And then especially when they're friends of yours, they're like, oh, well, I don't know what to do and I don't want to ask you to do this. But it's like, yeah, you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't have said anything.
So what I like about that is know your worth and stand your ground.
Yeah.
Be assertive, not aggressive, is how I interpret that. And that's where I work with my clients, is to help them get what they're worth, because we're we have an entry point and an exit point, and in between is a dash. And you have children, you have dreams and aspirations, and the people we rely on, like hotels, automobiles, service people, they all have needs. So if we can't get our needs satisfied in terms of the financial gains and benefits to be able to provide the services to others, the ripple effect is wrong. And by all of us showing up with a heart, I love that idea, and knowing your worth and getting, get paid what you're worth, and provide the value, at least what you're worth, maybe a little bit more even. And I think the price cost thing goes out the window, in my opinion.
Well, like my slogan is that I'm the only construction consultant that provides white glove service. And that's true. You're going to get this, the same Lisa, the one that leads with her heart, the one that is always available. I think customer service has been lost throughout the years, and people can't get a hold of you when they're panicking. And that's what happens is in construction projects, when you're spending a lot of money, you start to panic. And I always make myself available to my clients within reason to be able to have those conversations and say, you know what, I'll come tomorrow with a coffee. Let's have a conversation. Let's walk the site. Let's do whatever we need to do to make sure you're good, or whatever it is. You want to go out and grab a bite? Sure, no problem. It's on me. Let's go do that.
So I like that white glove. Say that again for everybody and me.
The only construction consultant that provides white glove service.
Perfect. So service is a key to all of this. I totally get that. Lead with your heart. Provide service, valuable service, not just lip service, customer service. Like people would say, yeah, we have great customer service. That's kind of lip service unless your customers are saying they have great customer service. Yeah. Then it's true. If we say it as the vendor, then is it true? It might be. It might not be though. Who's saying it is? Okay. Yeah. So what else would you share with our entrepreneurial mindset people?
Communication is key. Follow up in communication, 100%. Once you get a client, you can't walk away from them or be like, oh yeah, they're good, they're on the back burner. Check-ins are necessary, making sure you get a hold of them. I mean, there is the teach people how to treat you aspect where you don't want to take every single call, which I'm guilty for. I do that. But you want to make sure that you're spanning it out and getting back to them in a timely fashion. And when I say a timely fashion, same day, get back to them same day. Even if it's a text message, hey, saw that you called. Sorry, I can't have a chat with you right now. I'll get in touch with you tomorrow. I've got some more time. Just communication, huge.
What you reminded me of, we teach people. We teach people how to treat us by the way we respond to what they're doing. So go back to what you said. Know your worth. If you know your worth and stay true to your values, people understand how to communicate with you and treat you. And if you feel like you're not getting treated fairly, if you take responsibility, which is the best place to start, what were you doing to give people permission to treat you in that way if you're not happy with it? And then stop doing it, right?
That's it. That's exactly it. It's a lot of lessons.
Yeah. Do you have one more of those kind of nuggets that you want to share with our audience?
Always remember that you're in control of yourself. That's a big one for me. If you don't want to do something, say no. If you're not, people will always try and scope creep you. People will always try to get more bang for their buck, right? So remind them that their buck isn't being wasted, that it is going to something that is good, that you are enough, and that you will do what you need to do to ensure that their needs are met within reason.
Cool. So I'm going to bring up your website so people can find out where to find you. So let's see if I can look at that. I made it happen, and I'm going to make it easy for them to read it with putting a banner underneath it. It is right here. Kind of covers your message. Let me scroll that up a bit.
See, I told you my slogan. It's right there.
A little bit further. Come on, mouse, help me out. There we go. So the website is pretty easy, right? lpmenterprises.net. If you want to explore and learn more about what Lisa and her company is up to, this is a place you can go to connect with her. Also, you won't be able to read the banner, but I'm going to bring up the other page as well. LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn and looking for Lisa McGrath, I was going to put the URL, but as you see this blue screeny thing up here, it's a lot of letters. So just search for her on LinkedIn and you'll be able to find her. And then you just make sure it has this header, and you know that you'll have the right Lisa McGrath. You won't have the other McGrath I invented. That's an inside joke between her and me.
Mm-hmm.
Phil had made a mistake. Yes, I did. But anyway, we got it rectified. So let's go back to the website real quick. The only construction consulting firm that provides white glove service. See, it's right there in her website.
You betcha.
You know what
I have an amazing web designer, so you know.
What I hate about the show is it has to come to an end at some point in time. And is there one thing that you would recommend to our audience? A philosophy, an idea?
Well, I think to wrap it up into a little nugget, as you like to call them, is I always say, just remember that you are enough, and to always build your self-confidence every day that things happen and adversities happen in your life. And it's nothing you can always control, but what you can control is how you're going to move forward and how you're going to push past it and problem solve it. And don't ever do it alone. Have a support system.
The old acronym TEAM. Together, everyone achieves more. Yeah, absolutely. Can't do it on your own. Life's too short.
Yes.
Cool. Well, I want to say thank you for being on the show and imparting a little bit of your energy and knowledge, because I know in we are in the real world, but not the virtual real world, but in the physical real world, your energy is, what's the word? Contagious in a good way. Right? You're very enthusiastic about everything you do. So again, thanks for being on the show, and I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay. Thanks, Phil.
All right.